So when new sets and new products come out like the Commander Precons, well, certain cards might get reprinted that have desperately needed some reprints, and well, those cards very well might drop significantly in price. And yeah, on this episode, I'm going to be talking about some cards that are now budget friendly, or should I say more budget friendly than they have been, and these are cards that you should pick up right now. So now with all that said, let's jump into it. First up, there's Wayfarers Bobble. I have been waiting a long time to say that again. Wayfarers Bobble was reprinted at Common in the actual set Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate, not just the precons, the actual set itself. And this is the very first time that it has been really reprinted in an actual set. Well, I mean, since, a reprint set like Modern Masters 2015, and, well, when it comes to an actual set before that, that's, not a Commander Precon or whatnot, I believe you gotta go all the way back to 5th Dawn with its original printing. And yeah, that doesn't even show up on the Scryfall screenshot because it's been that long. Now, obviously, if you've been following this channel for a while, you know this card is near and dear to my heart, and let's just go over it really quick. An artifact for one that has pay 2, tap, sacrifice it, search your library, basically end card, put that card on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. So yeah, potential turn 2 land ramp for any color. And if you want to know why I'm a huge fan of this card, well, I did an entire episode on why I'm obsessed with Wayfarers Bobble. On top of that, I actually made an episode where I had to actually say goodbye to Wayfarers Bobble because it was no longer budget, and now it finally is back within my budget restriction of cards less than $1. Its current price is 43 cents, and while, that's not quite, 12 cents like it was when I started this channel, I am absolutely ecstatic about this reprinting and about the price. And if we take a look at the MTG stocks chart on Wayfarers Bobble, we can see that, yeah, a long time ago, this card used to be budget. It actually crept up all the way above $4 at a certain point until it started to see some reprints again, in, Commander Precon or, again on the list. But now with this actual reprint in a set, it is tanking the price. And hopefully we continue to see more reprints of it to keep that price down. And yeah, at this point though, I am extremely excited about this card. So if you have been waiting for Wayfarers Bobble to be budget again like I have, make sure you pick it up now. But I can't just talk about Wayfarers Bobble all day, so next up, let's move on to Arcane Cigan. Arcane Cigan is an artifact that costs 2 and it can tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. So yeah, a low to the ground, extremely efficient mana rock that can completely fix your colors. Yeah, what's not to like about that? I mean, this card has only been out for a few years now at this point, and it is now the second most played card in Commander, only second to Sol Ring. According to EDH Rack, it's in 61% of decks, and yeah, it can be in any color identity. And with its printing at Uncommon, it has driven its price down all the way to 50 cents, which is pretty incredible considering where this card started, which, was like above $6 at the time. But as you can see, its price has slowly been dropping through the years as it's been reprinted, and, well, okay, please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on this, because it might be all Commander Precons, but pretty much every single Commander Precon has had a copy of this, and yeah, because of that, its price has dropped significantly, though with this actual reprint in the new set, it finally is less than $1, and very much less than $1 at 50 cents. So, definitely a card to consider picking up right now if you've been waiting for this one to get more budget-friendly. Moving on, next up, we've got yet another popular artifact in Commander with Swiftfoot Boots. It's an equipment that costs 2 and it has equipped 1. It says equipped creature has hexproof and haste. So yeah, giving your commander haste, or more importantly, protecting your commander with hexproof, which is fantastic, is incredibly impactful. Hence why this card sees so much play. I mean, this card is in 25% of eligible decks out there, and I believe if my math is correct, the 33rd most popular card in Commander. And with this reprinting in the actual set at Uncommon, it has tanked the price all the way down to 50 cents, so the exact same spot as Arcane Cigan. Now again, this card has been well outside of my budget range again for quite some time, but it has been reprinted in a few products here and there throughout the years, so a while back it was above $3, now it was around $1 right before this printing, and again, going all the way down to 50 cents is going to make it a lot easier to include in a lot more decks out there, especially for budget players like myself. So now, like Eric, I can say, I'm New Boot Goofin'. Anyways, next up, we've got yet another very popular mana rock in Commander with Felwar Stone. Felwar Stone is an artifact for 2 that has tap, add 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. So this is very similar to Arcane Cigan, where you can get it down early, it's incredibly efficient, and typically it can fix for all of your colors. And actually, it's probably going to fix for all your colors and maybe even then some, depending again on what decks you are playing against. That being said, with its printing, it was actually in the Commander Precon, not in the actual set, but it did still impact the price and drop it below $1, so again, budget for me at 97 cents. And this card, well, when I first started playing Commander, was a lot more affordable, but it became very non-budget. Well, let's look at the chart. So a couple of years ago, it was creeping up further and further and further from around $2 all the way up to over $6. Yeah, this card got quite expensive due to a lack of reprints. Then all of a sudden it started showing up in Commander Precons, including our last one. And now again with that last one, it is finally underneath $1. And here's hoping that it will stay under $1. But yeah, currently it is 97 cents. So if you've been waiting for Felwar Stone to be budget like I have, make sure you go pick this one up. But speaking of ramp, let's talk about Cultivates Cousin, Kodama's Reach. It's a sorcery arcane that costs 2 and a green. It says search your library for 2 basic land cards, reveal those cards, put one on the battlefield, tap, and the other in your hand, then shuffle. So essentially the exact same thing as Cultivate, just with it, being an arcane spell, which typically doesn't matter for the vast majority of decks out there. Regardless, unlike Cultivate, until recently, this one hadn't seen any reprints really, and now it finally is starting to see some. So with a pre-con reprinting, yeah, this one was not main set, unfortunately. It has dropped the price, though, to 85 cents, which again is below my $1 mark. And as you can see, its price has fluctuated quite a bit over the past year or so. And yeah, it went from, around $3 down to almost $1 and then back up to $2. And now finally, again, underneath $1 at just 85 cents. So if you've been waiting for Cultivates Cousin to get to be budget friendly, make sure you pick this one up. But now let's move on to Demir Signet, which has been incredibly ridiculous compared to a lot of other signets out there. Now, like all other signets, this is an artifact that costs 2. You pay 1 into it and you tap it, and it adds 2 colors, based on, whichever guild it is. This is Demir, so blue-black. So this is an incredibly efficient mana rock that can also help you fix your mana. Now, that being said, if you look on the right, you can see that this one really hasn't seen all that many reprints. We finally got a reprint in New Capenna, but before that, the previous one was in Zendikar Rising. And sorry, I should specify, in the Commander Precons. And again, this one is just a reprint in the Precon as well, but still. Many of the other signets have seen a lot more reprints, and, for whatever reason, we haven't seen Demir. So please, Wizards, keep reprinting this one, because this one just always seems to keep going up in price very quickly. So at 85 cents, right now it is underneath my $1 mark, and let's hope that stays for a bit. But yeah, if you look at the chart from last May, this card was still well out of my budget, over $2. And yeah, it went all the way up to $4 because of a lack of reprints. So quite the price drop from around, again, $3 or $4 all the way down to 85 cents. And let's hope that it stays there for quite some time. And hopefully we get more reprints of it in the near future as well. Next up, a fantastic card that I've also been waiting for it to be budget for quite some time. Let's talk about Bassless Collar. It's an equipment that costs 1. It says equipped creature has Death Touch and Lifelink, and it has equip 2. So this is a low to the ground equipment that can obviously help out in a lot of situations. Death Touch can obviously make your creature incredibly deadly and pairs very well with something like, either Trample or First Strike. And Lifelink, of course, is just nice additional life gain. And now with this reprinting, and this was in the actual set, and it is at rare still, but yeah, we have gotten this card down to 47 cents, so well within my budget range. So, as you can tell, I'm pretty stoked about this one. Because, yeah, this card really has never been anywhere near budget for the, at least the vast majority of the time I've had this channel. If you look at the chart, it was over $8 back in the end of 2019. Of course, it's an incredibly effective card that can fit into a ton of decks out there, and again, it hasn't been reprinted for quite some time, and finally, we have started to see some reprints lately, and of course, with this most recent one finally being in a full set, yeah, finally dropped that price down to, again, less than 50 cents, 47 cents for this fantastic card. So if you're looking for this one, make sure you pick it up now. Moving on, next up we've got Siphon Mind, a sorcery for 3 and a black that says each other player discards a card, you draw a card for each card discarded this way. So in a typical game of Commander, again, as long as every single player is actually still in the game, this is going to be every other player discards a card, so 3 cards discarded, and you draw 3. For just 4 mana, and yeah, I mean, that is a fantastic effect, and yeah, with its pre-con reprinting, it's just 23 cents now. So this card is now, again, finally, incredibly budget. I mean, the last time we saw this was what? I mean, Commander Anthology Volume 2, I think that was 2017? 18? Regardless, a long time ago, and yeah, this one has been a long time coming. This card was very budget for quite some time, and it was a card that I was hoping was just going to stay budget because I utilized it in a lot of decks way back when, but yeah, I mean, over the years, it has gone up to nearly $2. Finally, again, with this reprinting, dropping down to a much more reasonable price of, again, less than 1/4. So if you've been waiting for this one to be budget like I have, make sure you pick it up. Moving on, a card that just tanked in price, though, is Mind Crank. Mind Crank is an artifact for 2 that says whenever an opponent loses life, that player mills that many cards. So this is an incredibly effective card in mill decks out there, and there are ways to combo with it as well. That being said, as you can see with the prices on the right, yeah, 91 cents is what it is currently at, which again is underneath my $1 mark. And the other 2 versions are, well, it kind of shows you how expensive this card used to be. I mean, for quite some time, this card has been creeping up in price, and recently it was all the way up over $6. I mean, it only has had 2 other printings from quite some time ago, and yeah, finally with this printing in a pre-con, it is much more budget friendly again, at least temporarily, underneath $1.91. Next up, a card that has gotten a 1-2 punch lately with reprints. Let's talk about Kazul Tyron of the Cliffs. It's an Ogre Warrior for 3 red that says whenever a creature an opponent controls attacks, if you're the defending player, create a 3/3 red Ogre creature token unless that creature's controller pays 3. So this can be both a fantastic attack deterrent and a way to, well, if your opponents are going to attack you, make a ton of tokens or at the very least tax them. And as you can see on the right, this card hadn't been reprinted since 2016 until New Capenna, and then also with this pre-con set as well in Baldur's Gate. So with these back-to-back reprints, it is now at just 88 cents. Which is quite the departure from its previous price. As you can see on the chart, this card has been going up, spiking up to above $8 until New Capenna came out, and then it went down to around 6 or so, but yeah, with this most recent reprinting, it tanked the price to less than $1. So yeah, with this 1-2 punch in the previous 2 Commander precons, it has dropped quite significantly. And speaking of a tanked price, well, I cannot wait to show you the chart on this one, but let's start off with the card itself, Traverse the Outlands. It's a sorcery for 4 and a green. It says search your library for X basic land cards where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Put those cards on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. So obviously with a commander that, has a good amount of power, you can pretty much guarantee that you're going to be able to get a ton of lands with this. So this card actually had 2 versions in Baldur's Gate. I believe one is borderless, but obviously this one isn't. But yeah, the non-borderless version is 86 cents, so less than $1. Previously, its only other reprinting has been on the list, which again is not a full reprint. And yeah, other than that, we've got Commander 2017 with the original. And that card got incredibly pricey. Way back in 2018, this card was around $5, and of course that kept going up, and up, all the way up to $15 back in July of 2021. So less than a year ago, this card was $15. And again, though its price did go down slightly since, with these Baldur's Gate printings, it has finally tanked the price again from $15 all the way down to $1 with that combination of the list and then these printings. So this very powerful card now is underneath $1 and it is very budget friendly. So if you've been waiting for a long time for this one to be budget, make sure you pick it up. Moving on, let's quickly go through some cards that might be out of my budget, but very much might be in your budget and have tanked in price recently. And let's start off with Skull Clamp. This is an incredibly powerful and incredibly popular card in Commander for a reason. It's an artifact for 1 that has equip 1. Equipped creature gets +1/-1. Whenever equipped creature dies, draw 2 cards. So basically, yeah, maybe have some tokens in play that are 1/1s and start attaching this to them and draw basically 2 cards for 1 mana. As you can see with this most recent pre-con reprinting, it's at $4.77. And yeah, as you can see with all those other prices, those are nowhere near that. its price really has been growing and growing and growing, from $5 last year, earlier in the year, all the way up to over $10 recently, and finally with this reprinting, it has dropped the price, to less than half of that. So if you've been waiting for this card to drop, now might be a good time to pick it up. Next up, how about 3 visits, a sorcerer for 1 and a green that says search your library for a forest card, put that card on the battlefield, then shuffle. So a very effective ramp card, and one that obviously can be even better on higher budgets, if you've got shock lands, or if you're really bougie, alpha duels, etc, etc, etc. Regardless, this card is now $2.80, and again, for the longest time, this card has been incredibly expensive. I believe before Commander Legends, this card really hadn't seen a reprint at all. Portal 3 Kingdoms was a very low print run set, and yeah, this card was very expensive, and now with this one, it's finally down to $2.80, which is much more manageable. Again, it had seen that Commander Legends reprint, which had it around $4, but that got all the way up to $6 recently, and now with this reprint, that has more than cut it in half. So if you've been waiting for this one to get more budget friendly, pick it up now. Speaking of which, there's Nature Lore, which does the exact same thing. So yeah, I'm not going to reread this, but yeah, this one has also been pretty expensive for quite some time now with this most recent reprint, and this is in the actual set itself, not in the pre-con. This is at $2.07 now. Which, of course, as you can see in comparison to all those other prices on the right, that is quite a bit less. Now, its price was around that back in 2020, but it has not been that for quite some time. This one spiked up all the way above $6, and recently was around $4 or so, but yeah, with this most recent reprinting, all the way down to just around $2. Next up, Wizards, please keep reprinting the Talismans. Reprint all of them, please, 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 please. But yeah, Talisman of Dominance had a recent reprint that knocked its price down significantly. It's an artifact that costs 2 and it taps for a colorless, or it taps for green or black, and it deals 1 damage to you. So like the other Talismans that basically do the exact same thing but for their own colors, this is a very efficient and effective mana rock that you can get down early to help you fix your colors. And yes, that is for, some damage, but that's going to be fine. You start with 40 life. But yeah, as you can see on the right, this card is finally down to $2.33, and here's hoping they keep reprinting it more and more and more, again with all the other Talismans, to make this even more affordable. As you can see on the chart, yeah, this card used to be around about $2.50 or so, and then it went all the way up to nearly $10, and it was back around $5 or so lately. But yes, with this most recent reprinting, back to at least somewhat budget territory, around $2 or so. Next up, how about the blue Ghostly Prison Propaganda? It's an enchantment for 2 and a blue, and guess what? It does exactly what Ghostly Prison does. Creatures can't attack you unless the controller pays 2 for each creature they control that's attacking you. So yeah, 2 mana is quite a bit of tax for each creature attacking you, so this is a fantastic attack deterrent. And with this most recent reprinting, as you can see, the price is just $1.79, which is, nowhere near the other prices on that list. Over the past year or so, this card has been over the $4 mark for the vast majority of the time, and most recently it was around $6, so yeah, $1.79 is a lot more manageable than that. And speaking of more manageable, let's move on to Selfless Spirit. It's a 2/1 flying spirit cleric for 1 and a white that says sacrifice it, creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. So this is a great low to the ground flyer that can also be a fantastic way to protect your team when you need to. And with its most recent pre-con reprinting, it's now at $1.84. Which, yeah, okay, let's get the chart. This used to be quite a bit more, because this card has been like $8 plus for quite some time. As you can see, this card got all the way up to like $12.50 or so. Recently, it was around $10, and yeah, it's been reprinted on the list as well, but yeah, with this most recent reprinting, finally much more affordable, all the way down to, again, less than $2 at $1.84. And this very much would be a card that I would like to be budget-friendly again, so Wizards, please keep reprinting it. And finally, let's talk about Terrain Generator, a land that can tap for a color. So by paying 2, you tap to put a basic land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. So this can be a great way for a deck with a lot of basics, especially, a 1 or 2 color deck to ramp. And with its recent pre-con reprinting, it's $1.86. Which, as you can see back in 2020, it was around that price. And yeah, this card got all the way up to $8 or so, and most recently it was around $6. So yeah, that is quite the departure in price to go all the way down to $1.86. And yeah, let's hope this one, and actually, all the other ones I've talked about on this episode, keep getting reprinted more and more often so that their prices can stay more budget friendly for players out there. And with that, this show is coming to a close, so it's my turn to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know what your thoughts on this episode are, and as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.